Hello again, everyone. This is Amanda from returntosourcewellbeing.com. I am making a little follow-up video for you. I know I made this very kind of funny and silly one called Anatomy of a Kinesiology session, which does take you through all the kind of nuts and bolts in some ways of what happens when you come for a kinesiology session. I've been having some chats this week to a few people, doing some interviews, just talking to people, finding out what they do and don't know about kinesiology. And I realised there's a few things that I didn't explain. One is most of the time when you're in a kinesiology session, we start having a chat and then move on to a massage table. You are fully clothed at all times, shoes off. And just try to make it as comfy and pleasant for you as I can. And I actually have a really nice room. I actually work in a mansion. It's an old Edwardian mansion that's been converted into a health clinic, and it's absolutely beautiful here. You can even go and sit in the gardens out the front of the house before or after your session, especially in this weather. It's beautiful. So anyway, blah, blah. The other thing that I didn't really touch on and that I thought I'd try to talk about a little bit is that when we're looking at what it is that your body needs to resolve whatever your trauma or emotion or stress or whatever it is that you're holding on to that's stopping you from having what you want, we actually have a database of hundreds of protocols. So I'm going to try not to too obviously read from the list, but I just want to give you an idea of some of it, because yes, we do all the emotional stuff. Yes, I work with flower essences and shells and essential oils and crystals and all sorts of groovy things like that, and singing bowls and blah, blah, blah. I do work with all of those, but that's not all we do. No way. Mostly when you come for a session, what you know about kinesiology is very much defined by what you need in a kinesiology session. So your experience of kinesiology is probably going to be different from somebody else's. If somebody else that you know came along and had a session, oh, we did this, that, and the other. Really? We didn't do any of that. We did all this really out there stuff. No, I didn't do any of that. Okay, so it definitely varies depending on the person. So I'm just going to have a quick look and tell you. So yeah, some of the very cool physical stuff that we do, and I was talking about this in one of the Facebook groups I'm a member of, we do work with blood chemistry. We do work with liver detoxification pathways. So sometimes the body gets a bit overwhelmed with toxins. The liver is trying to do its very best to release everything. And so whether it's pent up emotion or pent up stress, these actually, or just eating really badly, sleeping really badly, this all creates toxicity in the body. So that is sometimes the body needs a bit of a nudge to get back into gear, and so that the liver can get on with doing what it's meant to be doing. We can deal with things like, we do deal with things like sabotages quite a bit. So I really want to climb Mount Everest. Yeah, and I'm going to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, but I never actually take any of the steps to do what I say that I really want to do. And that can be because you might be holding on to an old story, a core belief, or something that you've absorbed from somebody else that says you can't achieve your goals. You'll never get what you want. So a lot of people, it's not uncommon at all to hold on to stories like this. I'm not good enough is a really big one for a lot of people. So I do quite a bit of work around clearing that out so people can be like, I am good enough. I can accept myself and love myself, and I can achieve my goals. So yeah, we do quite a bit of that around that. Just looking down the list. So many. We work with color as well. So sometimes the body needs color or sound balance. So sometimes we repress the way that we communicate. So it's like sometimes when we're doing the sound balance, and it might come up that the person needs to laugh or scream, and whatever it is that comes up, it's usually something that the person's like, no, I never do that. I never scream. I never yell. I never yawn. Whatever the sound is that they actually need to make, it's because it's out of balance, because they just never do it. Never let themselves have that freedom. So yeah, things like that. Ooh, gosh, we work with allergies quite a bit. So from my personal experience, I actually had late last year a garlic allergy came up. It was an anaphylactic response. So eating garlic, where before I was never really a fan, but it never caused me any problems. And then all of a sudden, it was causing my throat to close up and causing me to feel like I had a horrible cold and cough and find it difficult to breathe, and that my lungs were full of cotton wool. And it took quite a few months, but eventually we got there. And the most hilarious thing is that the session that finally got rid of the end of the allergy issue, we actually didn't work on allergies at all. We're working on other things. So really fascinating. Something we do a lot of in kinesiology is work with nutrition. So sometimes you need to add certain foods, remove certain foods from your diet, or it can be supplements, adding or deleting. Sometimes I'll take people off. They're taking, oh, I need this and I need that and I need spirulina, and actually sometimes you don't need those things at all. So coming into kinesiology can save you money on how much you're spending on supplements, and also put you on the things that you do need if you do actually need supplements. Gosh, so many things. We work with the aura, we work with chakras. That's like a whole nother discussion, really. We work with crystals, we work with figure 8 energy, which is, the infinity sign. So if I was just to make that sign there, that's actually a really powerful symbol that we use in healing. So that comes up sometimes, working with shells. Tissue salts, so you can actually get those in a lot of health food stores, but sometimes your body's like, I need this specific tissue salts, that's bringing your nutritional needs all the way down to your cellular level, and so your body will tell us if that's actually what you need. If there might be something that's really interesting is roles, so roles that cause us stress. So it can be, I'm expected to be the boss of my company, and I'm also expected to, I don't know, go to the football with my boyfriend. And I really, that there's a conflict between that and whatever it is, I'm just making it up. So that can sometimes cause us a lot of stress, and anything that does cause us stress is actually taking up our energy. So that means that you have less energy to enjoy your life, to do the things that you want to do, and the less energy we have, the more prone we are to feeling unwell. So that's why it's important to clear stress from the body. Oh my goodness, I'm just rambling, aren't I? What else have I got here? Ooh, I want to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about it in a separate video, but inheritance factors is really, really interesting, and I've been doing a lot of clearing for people around that lately. So inheritance factors is that we don't just inherit DNA and cells and physical appearance from our ancestors and our parents. We inherit, if it's held and not cleared, we inherit stress, we inherit core beliefs, we inherit tendencies towards certain kinds of illness, trauma, all this sort of stuff. So you can Google it. There's a video on YouTube called The Ghost in Your Genes, and it's actually a scientist taking a look at this phenomenon. It's not just kinesiologists talking about it. So that's pretty cool. I really love working with also things like TMJ, so the temporomandibular joint around the jaw. So when we have been biting our tongue a lot, when we, if you go to the dentist, like having prolonged procedures with the dentist, if you're holding back, biting down on your anger, not expressing yourself, etc., we can end up with incredible amounts of pain in the jaw. It can show up as headaches, it can show up as neck aches, it can show up as hip and shoulder issues, knee issues as well, and can cause us a lot of grief. So clearing all that repressed anger and frustration, it's a bit of a process, it's a bit involved, but really, 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 really interesting work. And then the other thing I really enjoy doing, I'm not going to be able to talk about everything in this video because it's already 10 odd minutes, but I really enjoy working with what we call regional body part protocols. So if you've got a sore neck or shoulder or elbow or fingers or wrists or knees or hips, spine, ankles, feet, toes, then we have protocols that actually work specifically with those parts of your body. So if you've always got a left shoulder problem, like I did for many years, then using kinesiology, we can actually work specifically targeting those muscles and look at what emotions you're storing in there that mean that you end up with ongoing injury and ongoing weakness in that part of the body. Depending on the injury, depending on how long you've had it, sometimes it can be a process of many balances, like spread out over a really long period of time, because it does take time to process and release all those emotions. So it's okay for it to take time. But yeah, it gets there in the end. This shoulder was had horrible problems because I had a horrifying fall off my push bike one time and kind of landed and pushed all my weight into my shoulder, and it was so weak for the longest time. But with lots and lots of kinesiology, and not always working specifically on the shoulder, but sometimes doing that, and now my shoulder it feels exactly like the other shoulder, so they're pretty happy. So yeah, I like doing all those sorts of balances as well. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. So yeah, allergies, definitely do a lot of stuff with that. We do a lot of work with brain integration, so improving your writing, improving your ability to speak, including public speaking. So if you know that you get like tongue-tied in public, then there are balances, there's work we can do that actually helps you release that stress that causes the tongue-tiedness. All right, gosh, there's so much more I could talk about. Isn't that interesting? Oh my God, kinesiology is not just the one thing that you come for, it's lots of different things, basically because we can ask your body anything. As a kinesiologist, I'm specially trained in reading your body, reading your muscles, reading your energy, and I can ask your body anything you want to know, anything you want to explore. So that's why kinesiology can be applied across so many different areas. I think that's awesome, and that's why I get quite emotional. I'm a kinesiology fangirl. As a kinesiologist, I love the work, I love doing the work, I love helping people, and I love getting my own sessions as well. So that is enough for me for today. As always, you can find out more about me, more about the work that I do at returntosourcewellbeing.com. Remembering that it's not the tomato sauce, it's the source of all things, because that's what it's about, coming back to our essence nature, returning to the source of who we are and what we're, our greatest potential. That's what my business name's all about. Thanks for listening. Till next time.